I had barely fastened my blouse when I heard his car depart. My spouse Kent was leaving, on a 3-day excursion to Denver for some legal gathering. I watched the taillights fade into the distance. I thought that goodbye would be the most difficult one that night, but it wasn't. 2 hours later, I opened the door I had sworn never to open. Lester was there, as I knew he would be. His gaze consumed me before his hands ever did. When I stepped aside to allow him entry, something within me crumbled. Something I had safeguarded for 25 years. My wedding vows once held utmost importance, but they meant nothing now. I can still hear the reverberation of that knock, and what transpired will forever be etched in my memory. Before delving deeper into this narrative, I wish to express my gratitude, sincerely, to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. Your support enables me to continue sharing these unfiltered, emotional odysseys. And for all the new and returning viewers yet to subscribe, I eagerly await your click on the subscribe button. This content sustains our channel, and it holds a deeper significance than you might realize. I encourage you to share your reactions in the comments below. How does this narrative affect you? Does it make you sympathize or antipathize with me by the end? Very well. Allow me to transport you back to the genesis of events, before I step through that door. My name is Alice. I'm 51 and reside in Colorado Springs alongside my husband, Kent. He's a decent man, disciplined, ambitious, but emotionally detached. Despite his shortcomings, he's a good man. We've been married for 25 years with no children. Our home is filled with routines, schedules, and an undercurrent of silence. Then there's Lester, Kent's college friend. At 50, he's charismatic, seductive in a way women feign to ignore. A photographer, not one who captures portraits but uncovers secrets. I always felt his gaze on me, even with Kent nearby at gatherings. During barbecues, Lester would invade my personal space when speaking. At social gatherings, his gaze persisted longer than others once they looked away. Yet he never overstepped bounds, neither with words nor touch. The line remained untouched until I crossed it myself. It started subtly. I found myself wearing lipstick in anticipation of his arrival, or chuckling more at his humor than usual. I convinced myself it was insignificant, harmless. But the way he looked at me, it stirred feelings within me. Felt seen, wanted, noticed, a sensation that Kent no longer provided me. That stare peeled back years. It reminded me I was still vital, still attractive, still capable of being desired. Then came the Thursday when Kent packed his bag and kissed me on the forehead. Not on the lips, just the forehead. As if I was something revered. But not something seductive. He promised to call. I smiled and waved. By nightfall, the quiet in the house seemed deafeningly loud. I poured a glass of wine, then another. I donned a silk robe, unsure if it was for comfort or him. At precisely 9:17 p.m., there came a rap at the door. I stiffened. I feigned ignorance about who was there. Yet I recognized them instantly. Always had. For the first time ever, I moved towards that door and turned its handle. Lester's gaze collided with mine, neither of us uttering a sound. However, everything transformed the instant I retreated and allowed him entry. The instant Lester crossed the threshold, the atmosphere altered. He strode in as if he had been there before. As if my silence had already given consent long ago. His eyes scanned the area momentarily, then returned to me, soft, smoldering, patient. And the robe I donned for comfort now seemed a garment meant for him. This encounter. I remained fixed. My heart pounded against my chest. Each beat served as a warning. Each breath was temptation attempting to reason with guilt. I ought to have spoken. I should have halted him. But I stayed quiet. And so did he. He passed me by, barely grazing my arms. That feather-light contact sent sparks racing through my body. It wasn't mere attraction. It was decades of tension. Unspoken words. Elevator rides lasting one moment too long. All culminating in that still moment shared by two people who knew they had transgressed unintentionally, without a single touch. I perched on the edge of the couch. He remained across from me, hands casually in his pockets as if he possessed endless time. The void between us wasn't awkward. It was charged. "You seem altered whenever Ken isn't present," Lester eventually murmured. His voice was rich, resonant, unhurried. He gazed at me like I was a treasure he had waited years to uncover. And what image do I reflect now? I whispered, my tone softer than intended. He inched closer. Desolate. Yet stunning. Those words left me shattered. They were simple. Yet they plugged a void I'd never acknowledged. Ken ceased complimenting my beauty around 10 years back. He loved me, but he no longer saw me. Not the woman within me. Not the longing. The fire, once hidden beneath the weight of motherhood that never manifested, lay suppressed under routines and duties. Lester observed it all. He sat by my side, close enough for me to sense his body heat. He didn't try to grasp me. He didn't need to. His mere presence was a form of touch, heavy, intense, undeniable. I cast my gaze upon his hands, then into his eyes. Haven't you desired this? I murmured. He nodded slowly. Ever since the day Kent introduced me to you. But I waited. I respected the boundary. And now? I inquired. His voice became even softer. Now that you have opened the door. I remained silent, for we both understood I had answered more than a simple knock with my silence. That night, there were no apologies. No explanations. Only the subtle echo of betrayal as it unfolded, and the deafening quietness of the vows I abandoned. At one point, he held my face in his hands and whispered something into my ear that left me shattered. He said, if you belong to me, I would never forget to gaze upon you. Suddenly, all my reasons for standing by Kent vanished. In that instant, I wasn't his wife, but a woman recalling what it felt like to be truly seen. This realization, more than any physical sensations, shattered me. When Lester departed at midnight, I stood at the door, robe secured yet heart exposed and fractured simultaneously. The instant he pulled away, reality hit me like a relentless wave I couldn't escape. I retreated to bed, huddled in Kent's empty side, waiting for remorse to erase the memory. However, it never did. The next day, the mirror offered no mercy. I gazed at my reflection for a long time, hoping to see a stranger, someone reckless or cruel. But it was still me. Tired eyes and lines etched from years of hiding. The only difference was, now, I had transgressed a boundary. The house remained silent, yet the turmoil within me roared loudly. I persistently told myself it was a mere mistake, a fleeting instance, an instant lapse of reason. However, the truth was more profound. It wasn't an instance, but rather the culmination of years. Years of feeling insignificant. Years of emotional aridity. Years of being a spouse, yet no longer a woman. Lester neither called nor texted. He didn't have to. The act that needed to transpire had already occurred. And on that tranquil Saturday morning, I understood I could never revert to the self I was prior to the knock. Kent returned home on Sunday evening. He kissed me on the cheek, inquired about my weekend, and I responded it was uneventful, expressing my longing for him. He reciprocated the sentiment, and just like that, the deception became a part of the very air we inhaled. For the ensuing days, I went about life as if nothing had shifted. Yet everything had. My physical self was back within our home, our kitchen, our bed, but my spirit was entombed between guilt and craving. Then on Thursday evening, Kent uncovered something. While folding laundry in our bedroom, he entered bearing a scarf. That specific one which I wore the night Lester visited. Not a scarf Kent had ever seen before, as it was never meant for him. Perplexed, he inquired about its origin, holding it aloft. I didn't recall purchasing this for you. I internally panicked. My skin grew cold. Oh, I replied, trying to keep my voice calm. I must have picked it up when shopping with Clarissa last month. He scrutinized it longer than necessary, then nodded. It carries a trace of cologne, he noted, and in that moment, I knew suspicion had crossed his mind. Perhaps not enough to accuse, but enough to ponder. He set the scarf on the dresser and departed. Frozen in place, my heart raced like a drum within my ribs. That night, we lay close yet distant in bed. And for the first time in our marriage, I felt the weight of silence's potential revelations exceeding that of any spoken words. Regrettably, I cannot share this tale with its intended resolution. A confession or fresh start. Yet, life rarely adheres to such structures. Lester never returned, and that door was never opened again by me. Still, the harm had already been inflicted, not merely on my marriage but upon myself. I allowed another to touch my flesh because I ceased to trust that anyone could reach my soul. I deceived Kent, yet also betrayed every part of me that once held faith in solemn vows. And for what? A fleeting instant, a gaze, a nudge that I was still desired, even if only by one who should never have gazed at me in such a way. If you're hearing this, there's something I want you to know. Desire doesn't always shout loudly. Sometimes it murmurs over long periods. And by the time it knocks on your door, it feels comfortable, safe, even warranted. But it isn't, because the cost of being viewed by unsuitable eyes is losing sight of one's identity. Thank you for lending an ear to my narrative. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever felt unseen in your romantic partnership? Do my actions make sense to you? If given the chance, would you have chosen differently? If this message resonates, give it a thumbs up. Pass it on to someone who might benefit from it. Above all, consider subscribing to this channel, as your backing allows me to continue sharing genuine, unfiltered narratives. Until our next encounter, take care of your emotional well-being, and never unlock a door unless you're prepared for the consequences.